Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. I am Mike Briggs, your host for today, and every day since 2008 we've been doing this, looking around Fresno, finding good things that are going on, good people, good organizations and groups that we need here and provide real services for us. And we're going to spotlight those. We're going to invite a few in every day or every week and feature them. If you have a business or an organization or some cool thing coming up that you think people should know about, we want you on this show so you can so Fresno can learn about you. Not Fresno, by the way, keep saying Fresno. It's Central Valley Talk. People are watching from Madera all the way up to Merced, all the way down to Porterville, Visalia, Sanger, all over the valley. They're watching us. So wherever you are doing something good, we want you on our show. Now, November, as you probably know, is Hospice Awareness Month. We're going to find out what hospice is, who needs hospice, how do you reach somebody for hospice. We've invited two special guests in who are experts on the subject, Tina Hernandez and Richard Parr. Now, I understand you're with Oyuna Hospice.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Maybe 2-3 years ago, I had no idea even what that word meant. So why don't we start there?
Yeah. That's a great
good place to start.
Because I have the honor of being the chaplain for Oyuna Hospice, and previous to coming into the hospice world, I had no clue what it meant as well. And
so I'm not alone.
You're not alone. Yeah. I think most people either have no clue as to what hospice is, or they have a misconception as to what hospice is. And
it's one of these, you don't know it till you need it. When you need it, you need it.
Absolutely. And so, like I said, I'm the chaplain. And then, Tina, maybe you can tell a little bit about yourself.
My name's Tina Hernandez. I am the Community Relations Director. So I work directly with the families and the community, provide the education, because education's key. You know, hospice does have, it's a scary word, and hospice is much more than just morphine and end of life and death. We actually do so many things. It's support for the families, managing their symptoms, and giving people the quality of life that they have left. So education's key. Not a lot of people, know about hospice. A lot of hospices, they think morphine. We don't just do morphine and strip medications. It's a lot more than that. So.
Now one uncomfortable subject for people is always death.
Yes.
And I'm one of my jobs, I'm a real estate broker. We have to talk about that all the time. What are you going to do if one of you die?
Sure.
Most people don't plan for that, and a lot of deaths come, and it's very sad. I'm not making light of anything. A lot of deaths come quick and instant. Car crash, heart attack.
Yeah.
But now with medicine, how it is, people can kind of hang on. And you want to hang on as long as you can.
Sure.
But typically, either you're going to be in a hospital where it's very, very expensive, or you're going to be at home where people aren't trained for this kind of thing. That's where hospice comes in.
Absolutely. That's a great analogy, and we really saw that come to light in the last year and a half during COVID. For all the individuals, most of them elderly, who were in skilled nursing facilities or assisted living facilities, they couldn't have their families visit.
Right.
So a lot of times the family would say, well, what if we bring them home with us?
Yeah.
But there's a whole process around that. And so hospice comes in and partners with the family and not only makes sure that they have the medications, the supplies, the furniture, everything necessary almost to replicate a hospital, but also the training, support from, we have a social worker on staff who makes sure that all the financial aspects are in play. We've got the community outreach, the spiritual coordinator, we've got nurses, doctors, everyone to make up a team to really help that transition, whether that person's here 3 days, 3 months, 3 years.
Yeah.
It's a journey, and we're honored to be a part of that journey, and we do consider it an honor. Death is a very scary thing, both for the individual and the family, and a lot of times we spend the majority of our time really bringing calm and peace to not only the patient, but to the family. And that's where we really want to kind of dispel the myth that hospice is, oh, you're there to get them to die faster, or you're there, and like, no, they're going to die when they're supposed to die. We're going to make sure the journey is appropriate for them and the family. And so we're honored to do that. Tina and I share a very unique bond that both of our mothers have passed away. They were both of them were on hospice with the Oyuna. So we've been able to experience this not only from an employee standpoint, but we experience it as a kind of a client-patient standpoint as well. And so we're very sensitive, and we make sure that patient care is ahead of profit, is ahead of anything else. We want to make sure that these families and the patients are taken care of. And so,
now I want to say we're all going to die. It's
Correct.
inevitable. There's no putting on the brakes there. And now, but hospice is people who I don't know how to say it nicely. It's imminent. It's imminent.
Yes, it is.
And you know, you're not saving lives. It's imminently going to happen. And again, the hospital's so expensive. What do you call the rehab, or the place where they send you, is so expensive. But wouldn't people be much more comfortable? They know they're going to pass away, to do it at home.
well, I think.
And you guys do that. I don't know if we said that yet, but you guys.
Yeah, we
go
do
to people's
that.
homes.
You know, one of the things when you talk about medical treatment, most times, especially when you're dealing with cancer or things like that, it's very invasive. It's rough. And so sometimes patients and their families, they just get tired of the fight. And they're like, look, we don't want to fight anymore. We just want to let happen what's going to happen. And that's really where we come in. The technical diagnosis is a doctor says, look, if you have no more treatments, you probably got about 6 months or less. And that makes them hospice eligible. Now, we've had patients that have been with us much longer than that. We've had patients who graduate, meaning they do get better, because, and I like to think,
better.
yeah, because the care we provide is phenomenal. And I'm not saying that to boast about Oyuna. I'm saying that hospice care is really intensive care, and so we have quite a few patients who graduate now. You know, they're
That's great.
I believe the longest we've had somebody on hospice was 4 years.
Yeah.
And going through that personal experience, like Richard mentioned, you know, they told me when I took my mom home, you only have 3 months. And with our hospice services, we had her for about 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Because we're able to manage those symptoms at home and not have, you know, our loved ones crash, go to the ER, get intubated. It's actually giving them the quality of life. And
Now, there's been, when I first heard of hospice years ago, there's a place you went. But now, you guys do it at the home. I want to talk about that a little bit, or tell us about that.
Yes, you know, and now with COVID, if a loved one is in a facility, families are not allowed to really go in there now because of the exposure. So we're able to actually support the families and the patients at home, so we get them all the medical equipment. Our staff, between every staff member, including our nurses, our aides, our spiritual support, our social worker, you have about 5 days of coverage with our staff going out there. And we're just a phone call away. And what makes Oyuna Hospice unique is we're not a huge corporation. We are a very small business. So the reason for being small is because you're able to give so much more to the community and those patients. So that's what makes Oyuna Hospice unique. And our goal is quality care.
Yeah.
Now, one of our themes at Central Valley Talk, when we talk seniors issues, is don't start thinking about it when it's too late. You know, start thinking now about housing. Where's your next house going to be? What's your next steps going to be? But hospice, I understand how you're describing it to me. It's more than just that ending medical care and making the patient comfortable. There's all kinds of legal technicalities and finances and stuff that has to be waded through, and you help with all that.
Yeah, now we have clinical social workers, medical social workers who get in. We have patient advocates who ensure that if they are at home, that the care is of a quality that is measurable. We go every aspect, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, any of those, we want to make sure they're all in line. And so you had asked about, you thought that hospice was in service. And there are a few of those, but the majority of patients are either at home or they're in assisted living facilities, and they kind of designate hospice beds. There's very few actual hospice centers. And so when our company started 5 years ago, and this is our 5-year anniversary, and I'm one of the very first employees that they had, one, we made a decision to stay small intentionally, because we knew that the larger you get, the one thing that tends to suffer is patient care. Okay. And so we stayed small by design. 5 years, we've been growing. Tina, and her outstanding community service, community connection, has been able to really expand our outreach and our services. And so we're just excited. And then, like I said, November being Hospice Appreciation and Hospice Awareness Month, we wanted to take advantage and let everybody know what hospice is, what hospice is not, and then obviously about Oyuna. And I mean, not only because I work there, I have worked for other hospice organizations, and what we do is definitely special.
Definitely.
Now, what about, will insurance help with hospice?
Absolutely. Hospice is a benefit that is covered at 100% by Medicare. No out-of-pocket cost, no co-pays. I don't think we've ever billed a family ever.
Right.
And that's golden about being small, is we're able to do things like that for our community and our partners. So another thing that I really wanted to point out is we honor our veterans. We have quite a bit of veterans on our service, but overall we do work very closely with the VA, and we do appreciate and honor our veterans.
Yeah.
Now, how can somebody find out more? I saw a website on the screen,
Yes.
Oyuna Hospice.com, I think it was.
Yep.
Yes.
And is that where they can go and find out more?
They can go to there.
Yes, they can go there. They can call the office if there's a family that's interested. I do all the house calls. I have the ability to also drive our doctor out too if there is a family that, the stages of dementia is never easy, and those declines can be fairly quick, and getting that support sooner than later, like you had mentioned. We're able to bring the doctor in and get those orders, and I do all the footwork for these families. So if they just like to call the office, and the ladies in the office transfer those calls to me.
Yeah.
Now, I have known people who didn't, you got to get hospice, you got to call hospice. No, we can't afford that, but they can afford it.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
they can.
In fact, calling and asking you is free, right?
Absolutely.
If you're not sure,
House
call
calls
Tina.
are free. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I really think it's worth reiterating what Tina just said. We have yet to ever bill a family for anything. And so I think that a lot of people assume, because if you go to a care facility, that's $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month.
Yes.
Hospice, completely different scenario, and a lot of times we can take care of the person right in the home and create the medical environment that they need. And so I think the people, whether you go to our website, go to our Facebook, follow us on Facebook. We're always doing community things that involve food, and we love food. And so if you like food, follow us on Facebook so you know what we have going on, because our mission is to really make public awareness key, because dispel the myths and get accurate information, and then people can make really solid decisions.
Right. And like I say, what we find through our seniors issue shows, people do not call or even look into it or even think about it until you absolutely need it. And that's why I want to talk about it now. I'm glad you guys came in now, and let's get some discussion going. And not just November on Hospice Awareness Month, but maybe every month or so you guys come back and talk to us about this.
Anytime. We would love
Absolutely.
to, and we're honored to. And thank you for just putting the spotlight on Oyuna, but also in hospice in general. And helping. We appreciate that.
And again, what Tina said, consultations are free. So if you have a question, or you think you can't afford it, or you don't know if you need it, Tina's, well, that's the other thing I want to say. Most of us will go through this once ever with a parent. You guys are pros at it. You've done it many, many, many times. You know what's coming up. You know what people are going to face.
Absolutely.
And you can answer those questions.
And we work very well with the community. So many resources, and if it's something that we can't do, we definitely give those resources and help these patients through these journeys. So
Very good.
Definitely.
We're out of time, but last thoughts on hospice or Oyuna? I learned how to say it, Oyuna Hospice.
Oyuna.
Not that hard to say.
Yes.
No, we're honored to serve our community. Next week is Veterans Day, and so to all of our veterans and all the veterans out there, we just want to say thank you for your service, and we're honored. We're honored to take care of your loved ones.
Yes.
Very
yes,
good.
Thank you.
Go to oyunahospice.com, check it out. We will be back with more Central Valley Talk right after this.